Hello everybody, James here, back after Flav deputised for me for a couple of weeks whilst I was on holiday. He did a very good job. I got 10 out of 13, so I was in the money. McIntosh struggling last week, and Sven-Goran Eriksson, that guy is an absolute machine. I'm going to give it another go this week. It's December, that means there's a lot of games coming up, a lot of games that you can play and make some decent money on, and a lot of games for me to get in front of Sven. So let's get straight into it with my bankers, my upsets, and my half hedges. My first banker comes in the Crystal Palace versus Bournemouth game. Crystal Palace have turned it around somewhat under Roy Hodgson. I think he's gonna do a good job there. It's a club that fits him really well. They're going to end up mid-table, in my opinion. He's turned it around a little bit. 4 draws out of the last 6. So that's why I put this down as a banker for them to get another draw. Bournemouth are a good side. Haven't been doing that well this season. But despite Palace winning their last game in that last-minute goal against Stoke, I think they are still struggling to score goals. And that's why I think this one will be a draw. My second banker is my team, QPR. We are struggling in the league. But the main reason for that is that we haven't won a game away from home in 17, but at home we have been pretty good. We're in the top half of the form table in the last 8 games when it comes to our home form. We don't lose often there, and we surprise a lot of teams. So I'm putting this down as a banker, probably because I'm a bit biased, but I think we'll be strong at home against a Leeds United who've been very up and down, and hopefully we'll get the win this week. We really do need it. And my final banker this week, it's quite an obvious one. Wolves versus Sunderland. Sunderland continue to struggle. They're third bottom in terms of the form table out of the last 10 games, whereas Wolves sit right at the top, 9 wins out of 10. There is no way that Wolves will not win this game of football, in my opinion. On to my upsets, and first up, I'm going for West Brom to get an away win. That in itself is an upset. Probably less of an upset when you find out who they're playing. Swansea at home. West Brom haven't won in over 10 games, but they've got that new manager in Pardew, got a draw in their last game and played pretty well. And I think away from home against the Swansea side that can't even seem to shoot, let alone get a victory, I think West Brom will get an away win there, which is a slight upset, I guess. Then on to Sunday, 2 massive games. I'm going to half hedge essentially my Liverpool versus Everton game this week. The reason I'm going to do that is because Sam Allardyce, they've won the last 2 games on the trot. They will be resolute in this game, and the reason it's a huge upset is because Everton have not won at Anfield in a huge amount of time. So for them to get anything, even a draw, would be a huge upset. And my final upset, some might see it as an obvious one, but for me, Man City cannot stop winning games of football. So regardless of who they're playing, it's going to be an upset if they don't win that game of football. So once again, I'm going to do a half hedge. Man United at home, I think they'll get a draw against Man City, and that's my third and final upset. So you've heard my bankers and my upsets, but with Fan League, the thing that sets it apart is the ability to do a half hedge, which allows you to pick a second row, a second result from a fixture. So I've got 7 here that I'm going to run through now, kicking off with Burnley versus Watford, the 2 surprise teams in the Premier League this season. I really don't know who to go for here, essentially. So in terms of odds, a draw is the least likely thing to happen. So that's why I'm going for either a home win or an away win for Watford. I've also half-hedged Swansea versus West Brom. I generally like to half-hedge when I've gone against the home side, because I think that home advantage is so important in Fan League and in football games in general. Newcastle versus Leicester, same idea behind that. I've gone for Leicester. They're in decent form under Puel. Newcastle, the complete opposite, but Newcastle are at home. Norwich City versus Sheffield Wednesday. Norwich City struggling this season, but the Championship is such a tough league that you just have no idea what's going to happen, so I'm half-edging that one. Southampton versus Arsenal on Sunday. I've got a funny feeling Southampton are going to get a draw from that one, but Arsenal, of course, are the favourites for that game, and they should be after playing very well against Man United and in recent weeks. So I've put a half hedge down there with an away win for Arsenal. And those final 2 games of the season, as I said earlier, I've half hedged both of those. Derby games, you never know what's going to happen. So if you've got the opportunity to do that, for me, it seems like a decent bet. So those are my picks for game week 16 on Fan League. Make sure you get involved in the One for the Weekend League. It's a league that I'm involved in. There's also the One for the Weekend podcast, which is on the Ball Street channel and on iTunes. It's very good, and it's all you need to get geared up for the weekend. If you want to copy my picks, you can do so by looking down there and clicking down below. Good luck if you do pick them. I'm really hoping I can get in front of Sven-Goran Eriksson this week. It's just ridiculous that he keeps winning, but I will not give up. I'm going to do it, and I think this week is the week.